Special guest. His name is Gregory Collier. He is from the United States of America, Texas to be precise, but he will tell us a little bit more about his background. So this is going to be a very interesting and exciting conversation. Remember, this is meant to coffee where we brew new leaders. I hope you got your coffee. Today I got my hot chocolate. Greg, how are you doing? It is great to have you here.
Thank you, Peter, and I do have my coffee. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. So, Greg, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, sort of like your background? I know you're a leadership and stroke coach. You know, you specialize on personal human development space, and you've got years of experience. But perhaps maybe if we can just touch on a little bit of about your background and how, you know, your journey has sort of taken you all the way to where you are right now.
Well, I will back into my journey. By the way, hello, everyone. You did a good job, Peter, in my name, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
It's good to be in South Africa today.
Collier?
Yeah, that's good. You did well.
I want to hear you say it.
Now, we have, as a Black American, we have several ways to enunciate our name. So in formal circles, we'll say Collier.
Okay. So I got it right. I got it right in the formal way, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so in the Black community, we say Collier, like Caryer, Collier. Yeah. And so if you go with the French last name, where it comes from, it's Collier. So choose your enunciation. I'm all right with it.
Good.
Yeah. So to tell you a little bit about my history, I'm going to back into it. I do have a master's degree in business and organizational leadership, but that degree began actually in high school. Yeah. And I say that because in high school, I barely graduated high school. Yeah. It actually took me an extra year to do that. Yeah. So our school years typically run from September through June, early June, like the first week of June. I remember in that extra year looking at my grades or my marks in January, and I said, dude, you're not going to make it again. And it was at that point that I decided that if I didn't make it this time with that extra year, that I was going to drop out of school. I learned that year that skin actually do have teeth because I made it out by the skin of my teeth. And then I went on a venture, a 12-year venture to get a 4-year college degree. Yeah. And the majority of the reasoning for that.
And which state was this? Which state were you in?
I was in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but a part of that journey was in Washington, D.C. because I spent 2 years at Howard University. Yeah. And then I moved back to Pennsylvania as part of the whole 12-year run to get this 4-year degree. Now, the main reason for this struggle was I had I had an inability to read and comprehend. Okay, so I could read what you would, if you put a paragraph in front of me, I could read that paragraph, and then you ask me, well, what did you just read? I can tell you this, what I just read had a man in it, but I couldn't really tell you what what the salient points were. Yeah. So having to take remedial English in college, where you learn what you shouldn't learn in grade school and grammar school, tutoring in math, those things taught me that anything you want is you've got to put some hard work into it. Yeah. So I was able to make it after 12 years, and then 2 years.
Did you have any support? Were your parents cheering you on, or it's something that you just decided to say, hey, you know what, dude, you have to do this?
Yeah, that's one of my talking points. I didn't have any cheerleaders on the sidelines. So I had to believe in myself and continue to believe in myself even when I failed. Yeah. And develop new strategies and methodologies to achieve the goal. For example, I was horrible in math. So I decided to take my math courses in the summer, and it'd be the only class that I concentrate on. Yeah. So that's a way of, ingenuity, a strategy that's going to work for me. Because if I took that class while taking others, I just wouldn't do it. It wouldn't make it. Yeah. So, many years in public policy. I worked for our mayor in the city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And then many years in human resource management. And then I decided to chase dreams in my heart, and I moved to Texas and joined the Potter's House and ended up becoming an elder on staff there, and also taught in the School of Ministry. Yeah.
Okay, so you sort of jumped ahead of what I had in mind to ask you, but I'm glad you brought it up anyway. Before I get into that, how would you, first and foremost, Potter's House is one of the most recognizable religious, especially in the Christian circle, church brands, and it's well organized. And mere fact that you work there, that means you demonstrated certain qualities and skill set that you've developed over the years, for them to make you part of their team. So what skills do you think that you acquired along your journey, along your path that eventually led you to Potter's House?
Okay, well, one skill that every individual should have or develop is the mindset that nothing falls off the trees in your hands. You have to work for it. So hard work and the determination to complete the goal, not quitting, and having a central focus on that aim. And as I mentioned earlier, being able to adjust along the way. We have to tweak things. Your path may not be a straight line. It's okay if it zigzags for a while, but you stay on the path and continue moving forward. So focus, determination, and hard work are three skill sets that you don't have to have, but you can certainly develop. Yeah.
So did you have to do the typical thing of maybe writing your goals down and say, look, I see myself down the line being this sort of person?
I'm glad you asked that question, because I took a weekend alone. I call it now. I have a term for it now. I didn't have a term for it then, but I call it a retreat, a personal retreat. I took a weekend alone. I left work on Friday, went home, got my bags, packed my clothes, went and rented a hotel room. I did fast while I was there. Breakfast and lunch, I didn't eat. I ate dinner each evening. No television, no phones, just worship music, prayer time, and a pen and a paper. And I wrote down things that came to me. And I took that plan when I returned home on Monday. I took it to an artist, and I told him, I don't want to tell you what to conceptualize. I just want to give you this sheet of paper. These are the things I wrote down, my goals, my aims. And at that time, I hadn't completed college. And he took it, and he came up with a pictorial of a winding staircase going up. And at each curve, he drew the outside of the curve, the image of what I wanted to achieve. On the inside, he put the time frame that I wanted to achieve that goal by.
Yes.
I managed to reach each goal either on time or early, all the way up to the top. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. For the benefit of those that are listening and watching us right now, I am in one of the processes that I went through personally, which is what I cover in the book, Your First Book to Entrepreneurship. I talk about the power of sort of two things. Number one, having a vision board. And then also, with your vision board, you can, like what that artist did for you, you can sort of go now, there's internet and all of that, or there's even magazines. You can take old magazines and cut out pictures of the future that you sort of envision and stick them. So I have my vision board, at least for the last 3-4 years. I've had like a vision board. And then another thing that I talk about that you highlight to is that you have to be very purposeful about what you sort of want to achieve. Now, on the course of your journey, I mean, what are some of the things, so was you sort of focusing around your journey to Porter's house? I would assume that's one of the greatest highlights of your life. On that journey, what things do you at some point go through that would make you feel like, you know what, this is it? I don't think I don't think I can take this anymore.
Well, I love what you're saying because, of course, Scripture says, write the vision down and make it plain. Yeah. And listen to what it says next. They that see it shall run. Yeah. I think that's critical. You call it storyboarding. I like that terminology. I had the picture the pictorial that was made for me. I framed it. It was pretty large. I hung it on the wall so I can see this thing every day. Visioning is very important. When you vision something, you can actually, if you can see it, you can be it. And I found this to be very true. But the inspiration and the motivation, and let me be honest, when I first saw the pictorial, I was happy, ecstatic. I couldn't wait to get it in a frame and hang it on the wall. But I remember the day that I hung it on the wall and I looked at it and I said, how am I going to achieve all these things?
That's right.
So having a personal determination is something that I would like to identify. If you don't have determination, the first wind that blows will stop you. You have to have a I'm not quitting attitude, a determination that moves you forward when all the wind in the earth is blowing against you. Everyone is saying, why are you doing that? Why are you doing this? So that determination is very important. So you have your vision or your vision board, and you hang that thing so you can see it. We can put it on our phones today. We can put a picture on our phone and make it your screensaver. It can be your screensaver on your laptop. See this thing every day, and no matter what comes against you, because trust me, things will happen. Life happens all the time to everyone. But when you get
hear some of those, Craig. I want to hear about, maybe one or two instances where you hit a brick wall and you're like, look, I'm not sure I can take this anymore. And then obviously you got into your wit. You took your wit together and said, you know what? I encourage myself that, look, it's going to be, I don't know how I'm going to get through this, but I will stay determined. So what are some of those that you encountered?
First, as I mentioned earlier, my personal deficit, until I learned to study, until I learned how to study, I had jumped in and taken 3 classes and failed miserably. Okay. That would be an easy point for me to say I quit.
Wow.
Okay, so that's where I'm talking about the determination piece. Yeah. So being able to motivate you, what motivates you as an individual? Yeah. Okay, so I have certain music that I listen to that motivates me. The charge kind of music, we can do this, let's take the fort kind of music, and it motivates me. So I just backed up and tweaked my plan. I started taking one class per semester until I learned. Another challenge was fiscally. How am I going to pay for this?
Yes.
So it was easy for me to just say, well, I can't afford it, let me stop. But I came up with a plan. I started working a part-time job on a weekend to help pay for school. Yeah. That would be 2 incidences.
Incredible. So I share, I also have a morning podcast, by the way. Every morning I'm dedicated to just reaching out to people and sharing certain nuggets. And usually I'll pick a word. I'll probably pick one word. So I remember last week, one of the words I picked was determination. And it's interesting. It's as though, we were in the same room and I got some of the excerpts from you on how I shared on determination, and it's really encouraging that, look, despite you failing 3 times, you still didn't give up. How easy it is for someone when you've just had one attempt and you just sort of walk away from whatever plan. And sometimes you start second guessing your